The worm and the fishes. One day, around shady noon, Aphmu decided to go fishing with her father, Herobrine. She missed fishing even though it was only 2 days ago when they last fished in the Valdez River. Aphmu begged Herobrine to fish for her because one of her hobbies was to catch different kinds of fish. Aphmu also liked to eat fried fish such as fried tilapia, carp, and mudfish. Due to Aphmu's request, Herobrine agreed to her wish to fish, so Aphmu was very happy because they were going to the river again to catch fishes. "My daughter, Aphmu, before we go to the river we will first get our equipment," said Herobrine. "All right, Dad," Aphmu said. "My daughter, take a jar with worms to feed and catch fishes and also take 2 fishing rods," Herobrine ordered. "Yes, Dad, whatever you order I will do because I am already excited to go to the river," Aphmu said hurriedly because she was excited when they went to the river for fishing. Aphmu obeyed all Herobrine's orders to get their equipment or belongings. After getting their equipment, they started walking towards the Valdez River. "Release us here in the jar, Aphmu. Release us, we will die here," said the worms inside the jar. Aphmu did not even hear what the worms were saying because she did not understand it. By the time Aphmu and Herobrine were a little away from their house and they were close to the river, someone suddenly tried to sweep the jar that contained the worms. It was a big bird. The big bird tried to snatch the jar. "Ah!" the worms in the jar shouted. The bird missed its plan because Aphmu quickly saw and avoided the bird, so the big bird tried in vain. "Alas! If it had been earlier, I would have gotten the jar. Haze, alas, there are still more worms in the jar," the big bird said angrily. "What is that, big bird, you bad bird? Ah," Aphmu said to the big bird. "Whatever. There's still a lot of food there," said the big bird. The bird flew away and went somewhere else to look for food. A few minutes later, Aphmu and Herobrine arrived at the Valdez River. "Daughter, here we are fishing, don't stay away from me, ah," Herobrine said to her. "Yes, Dad, I'm just here so that nothing bad happens to me. No worries, Dad," Aphmu told her father. "Thank you, you are really kind and obedient." "All right, daughter, let's start," Herobrine said happily. "Yes, Dad, I was ready earlier," Aphmu also said happily to her father. They happily fished on the riverbank together. Aphmu caught a fish, so she begged Herobrine to take a picture of the fish she caught. He did this and then he also took a picture of his daughter catching fish. They fished for a long time until they caught many different kinds of fish. "Dad, it's really fun to catch fish. We've got so much of them," Aphmu said happily to Herobrine. "You're right, daughter, we have a lot of fish to eat this evening for dinner. Isn't that fun, daughter?" said Herobrine. "Yes, Dad, I'll be full again later with your delicious cooked fried fish," Aphmu said happily. Herobrine laughed at what his daughter said. Then they continued to catch fish on the riverbank. They fished until a witch walked behind Aphmu and Herobrine without them realizing it. As the witch was walking behind them, she suddenly stumbled on the slippery rocks on the riverbank. "My daughter, did you hear any noise?" Herobrine asked. "No, Dad, I didn't hear any noise," Aphmu replied. But due to the witch's fall, she accidentally spilled a potion on Aphmu's head. "Dad, I feel like I have cold water on my head," said Aphmu to Herobrine. He did not hear what Aphmu said because he had caught a big fish. "Daughter, I caught a big-sized fish-o," said Herobrine with great joy. "What could that be?" Aphmu asked herself when she felt cold water pour over her head. She touched her head but it was not wet, though it felt cold and wet. Then, Aphmu looked behind her but saw no one. She also didn't see the witch because the witch had an invisibility potion and poured it over her own head as well. The potion that poured on Aphmu was magical, enabling her to understand the language of animals, though its effect on humans was temporary. For witches, it could last up to a year. Because the witch had stumbled and spilled her potion on someone else, she was sad and ran away. "Bad luck, bad luck. What a waste of my potion," the witch said angrily to herself. But she was far from them when she said that until she disappeared from sight. Then, Aphmu felt strange. "Dad, I have a headache and I also feel dizzy," Aphmu told Herobrine. "My daughter, all right, we've caught a lot of fish. Let's go home," said Herobrine. Herobrine closed the jar. But Aphmu saw that there was only one worm left in the jar. So she thought of feeding the last worm to catch a big fish. She hoped to catch a very big fish. With the joy of catching a very big fish, her condition suddenly improved. Wait, Dad, there's still a worm left. Just one, Dad, please, and then we can go home. Dad, I suddenly felt better. I'm okay again, Aphmu said to her dad. All right, daughter, I will sit there under the tree. Don't be scared, I will be close, and after you catch a fish, then we will go home, said Herobrine. Thank you, Dad, Aphmu said. When Aphmu opened the jar, the worm spoke to her. Aphmu, don't feed me to them, I'm begging you, please, the worm begged Aphmu. Because of the worm's words, Aphmu was scared. She almost threw the worm into the river. Don't, Aphmu, don't throw me into the river, the worm said nervously. Wait, do you understand me? The worm asked. Yes, worm, I don't know why I understand what you are saying, and miraculously I can talk to you. How do you know my name? Aphmu asked the worm. Don't be afraid, Aphmu. I know you because I heard your friends call you Aphmu when you were playing in your backyard and I was there too, the worm said to Aphmu. That's right, Aphmu said. Aphmu, I beg you, let me go, instead of feeding me to the fishes, the worm said pitifully. Aphmu felt sorry for the worm, so she released the wretched worm. All right, worm, you're free, so I'll let you go, Aphmu said happily. Thank you, Aphmu, you are a good person, the worm said. You're welcome, worm. Be careful, Aphmu told him. Sure, Aphmu. But my name is not just Worm. Call me Wormy, said Wormy, though he was still a worm. All right, Wormy, be careful, Aphmu said. The worm began to crawl and saw the fish caught by Aphmu and Herobrine. Ah, look at you now. Because you ate my friends, you are here now suffering. That's what you deserve. Wahaha, the worm said sharply to them. Aphmu did not hear this because she had already started arranging her belongings. After Wormy taunted the fish, he began to crawl away toward the land. But unexpectedly, the big bird swept down and grabbed him, the same bird that had tried to take the jar. Thank you, you're still here, the big bird said to the worm creepily. Wormy is gone. He must have gone to the ground to hide, Aphmu said to herself. The bird ate the worm and then went somewhere else to find more food. It's good for him, he was too proud, said the fishes. When the large bird ate the worm, the potion's effect on Aphmu disappeared at the same time. This was evident as the fish she and Herobrine caught did not talk to her anymore. Aphmu took the fish and put it in a bucket and started talking. Fish, hello, talk to me. If I talk to the worm, you can talk to me too, Aphmu said to the fish. This is our chance, guys, so we can get out of the bucket, said the tilapia. Aphmu, we beg you, please release us from the bucket, said the carp. But Aphmu did not hear it because the potion had lost its effect. She thought the fish they had caught were dead, so they could no longer speak. Suddenly, another large tilapia moved. Hey, the big tilapia is still alive, let me talk. Hello, tilapia, said Aphmu. The tilapia did not speak. So Aphmu wondered why they did not speak even though they were still alive. The fish begged to be released, but it was too late because the potion had truly expired, so they did not have a chance to talk to Aphmu again. Aphmu just thought that the worm had magic, so she could talk to him, or maybe he was a prince who became a worm. Aphmu remembered that her father was waiting for her, sitting under the tree and watching the birds. So, Aphmu went to Herobrine. It's a good thing my dad didn't notice me talking to animals like crazy, Aphmu said to herself with a laugh. When she got close to him, Herobrine immediately asked how she was feeling. Daughter, are you feeling okay? Herobrine asked her. Yes, Dad, I've been feeling good lately, Aphmu replied. Herobrine asked again. Daughter, are you satisfied with our fishing? He asked. Dad, it's so fun. I hope we come here again tomorrow, Dad, I really enjoyed it, Aphmu said happily to Herobrine. All right, daughter, let's go again tomorrow. As long as you are kind and obedient as always, Herobrine said happily. Yes, Dad, thank you, Aphmu said happily to her dad. Aphmu hugged Herobrine with great joy, and he hugged her too. Dad, I'm going to tell you something you might not believe, Aphmu said to Herobrine. All right, daughter. Tell it as we walk home, said Herobrine. They happily went home to their house. Aphmu said that she talked to the worm, so Herobrine was happy with her story. Herobrine did not believe it and said she might just be hungry. Herobrine also thought it was just a joke by his daughter. When they returned home, the fish failed to escape. Like the worm that became the dinner of the big bird, the fish were also fried and became the dinner of Aphmu and her parents. In the real world, these things happen.